Hello and welcome to compiling jQuery mobile PhoneGap applications. This particular video is part of a series. You should have already downloaded the relevant files that go along with this particular project. Just to remind ourselves what they are, you should have the following files, starting with config.xml, cordova.js and index.html, along with the jQuery mobile CSS files and the jQuery core. Make sure you have these to hand, because what we're going to do in a moment is compile what we have here using build PhoneGap and compile into a hybrid native app for Android and iOS. We'll just put these to one side for a moment. This is what the app looks like in the browser. A very simple app. It's a template. What I've done here is allowed you to start off using the template. It's a 2-column template. We can see what happens when we minimize the browser, change the size of the browser. We can see that it's fully responsive, and there is a change shift round about 400px in width, and it changes and responds to the mobile viewport and obviously carries on down. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this project here and we're going to compile what we have on the Adobe PhoneGap build service. The PhoneGap build service is completely free. You will, however, need to sign up to create an Adobe ID. If you don't have one already, it's very simple. Click onto the register button and use your email address. Once you are registered, it will automatically sign you in. I'm going to sign in now using my Adobe ID. When you first arrive at the Adobe PhoneGap build service, it will prompt you to either copy and paste your Git repro account and obviously project path into this field here. Alternatively, and this is the way that we're going to do it, is upload a zip file. Before you do that, however, we need to ensure that you have compressed all of the project files into a zip file. So we'll do that now. It's very simple. Right hand click on your jQuery mobile PhoneGap template folder, select send to and select compressed zip folder. It's a very small file, relatively, 473 kilobytes. Once you have that, we can now return to Adobe PhoneGap build service, click onto the upload a zip file, and what we'll do now is we'll just go and find the location of the zip file and upload. PhoneGap build service at this point is checking the files you have in your particular project. In particular, it's looking for the Cordova file, and in addition, it's looking for your config.xml file. We went into detail regarding the XML file, which is config.xml, in a previous video. Once it has checked the relevant files in that zip folder, it's just a case of selecting ready to build. At this point, what I normally do, because I test on hardware, is check onto enable hydration. That enables you to check for the most up-to-date version of your compiled app on the hardware device itself. So when you're opening the app on your device, first of all it will check with build Adobe to check to see if there's a latest compiled version, and if it has compiled it, there's a recent version, it will download it. Obviously it's the first time we're building it, so we'll click on to ready to build. Okay, the next screen, you'll see in here you've got your app name, which is obviously because it's a template, this is not the correct title, and a description just underneath it. You can see down here we have the target platforms: iOS, Android, Windows Phone, BlackBerry, HP. And you can see here some have turned blue and some have turned red. iOS requires some additional downloading of provisioning profiles for it to work on an iPhone or iPad. Android, you can actually download and get the app working straight away on that. So when it turns blue, that means it's been compiled successfully. Red, there's an issue potentially with provisioning certificates. You'll notice in the right hand side of the screen we have the QR code, and what we can do with this is point your hardware, so point your phone using Google Goggles to the QR code. Once you've taken a picture with that of that QR code, that will enable you to download the app onto your device straight away, and then obviously you can test the app running on your hardware. You can also alternatively, using your device, open a browser, sign into Adobe build PhoneGap, and simply arrive at your build and download it that way as well. So there's a few ways of actually downloading the app. Just click into the app itself. There's a little bit more information in here, a bit more detail regarding the various compiled apps. You can see here iOS, no key selected. That's because it doesn't have a provisioning profile and app certificate. Windows Phone and HP, they're already, and Android as well. If you go into settings, you can see here we can update the code. So if you made a change to the code, rather than having to rebuild a project from scratch, you can simply make modifications to your app, rezip the folder, and then re-upload to the service, and that will recompile the app. There are a few options for debugging. You can enable debugging. That means error messages will appear as an output. Enable hydration, we've seen that before, that's already enabled. And this option here is only approved collaborators can download this app. So if you want to make the app available to others to view and to download, perhaps for testing, just uncheck that checkbox there. We'll just carry on there. Because this template doesn't contain an icon, an app icon, it's defaulted to PhoneGap build. If you wanted to, you could actually choose a file to upload and to act as your app icon. All the various fields here, such as app title, the package, the version, the configuration and description, that's actually pulled the data from our XML file. So if we just go back into our project template for a second, we can have a look at that. So all that information we saw in those fields, if you open up the config .xml file, and we'll just pull that over here. You can see what the Adobe PhoneGap build service has done. It's gone through the XML and pulled out the various, the name tag, description tag, the author, the version, and so on. So that's why it's important to edit that particular file to obviously match your particular app and your development. If you wanted to delete the app, it's very straightforward. It's just a case of clicking on this button here. Occasionally there are problems with PhoneGap build. I've noticed in the past I've had problems where the XML file, the config.xml file, has become cached in the app, so that when you upload to your hardware it's using the old config.xml. In that case I've had to delete the app and start afresh. So just bear that in mind if you're getting persistent problems. And that concludes compiling your jQuery mobile PhoneGap build app. Thank you very much.